Mike Dell's World number 257 for Saturday, June 3rd, 2017.
I think it's time for Mike Dell's World.
There it is.
He smiles like a Cheshire cat, but that's an innocent disguise. He likes to make you think there's someone real and warm behind those eyes. He smiles like a Cheshire cat until he doesn't get his way, and then his back goes up and his claws come out, and someone's bound to pay. Now you think he'll change, he makes you think you can start again, and every time you find you wind up with a broken heart again. I thought there must be a reason for his ruthlessness, but after searching through his past, I finally found that the truth is this: he's just mean, there's nothing else to say. I used to wonder what had happened to the boy to make him act that way, like he's a king that everybody falls behind. What did it take to make him so unkind? It took nothing, 'cause he's just mean. He'd sip fine wine while he lets you die of thirst. You always stand in line, 'cause in his mind he's always first. Now he'd treat you fine for a while, but there's no doubt when he's finished using you, he'll chew you up and he'll spit you out, 'cause he's just me. There's nothing else to say, and there's an awful lot of people walking around like him, just seem to have been born that way. No in between, love and hate, it's all a game. He's always looking for somebody else to blame, but the fact is, he's just mean. There's nothing else to say. I used to wonder what had happened to the boy to make him act that way, like he's a king that everybody falls behind. What did it take to make him so unkind? It took nothing, 'cause he's just mean.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. This is Mike, and just checking in. Haven't done one of these in a while, and thought it'd be good. That song I played was old school podcasting from probably 2006 or 7, maybe 2008. It's David Ippolito, and he was part of the PodSafe Music Network, so we get to play that kind of music in podcasts. At least we could back then, and hopefully now as well. But he's just mean. One of my favorite songs of David Ippolito. He actually has a couple other ones that are really good that I downloaded over the years. But anyway, lots been going on. Of course, it's becoming summer here. It's not quite summer. It's early spring or late spring, but it's getting summer-like out there. It was 80 degrees today, and we're expecting thunderstorms. I'm just watching the radar here. One of the activities that I do, of course, is ham radio, and just been appointed the District 7 of Michigan emergency coordinator, and that covers ARES, which is Amateur Radio Emergency Service, RACES, which is Radio Amateur. I should know what that is, but anyway, RACES is the federal version of that, and then also covers the Skywarn system. So we're getting ready probably to have a weather net. So you might hear some ham radio in the background. They emailed and said, "Hey, we might need to have a weather net for weather spotters." So that should be interesting. If that goes on, it just looks like a bit of rain. I don't know if it's necessarily severe, but it's just the main cell that we're watching just to the west of Green Bay, Wisconsin, over the Door Peninsula, and it's kind of going southeast over Lake Michigan. Of course, that puts us right in the crosshairs, so be watching that as the night progresses. But yeah, a lot of things have been going on since the last time I talked to you guys. I think the last one I did of these was when I wrecked the Subaru this winter. Well, that Subaru wasn't in too bad a shape, and so we sold that. We bought it back from the insurance company, and we sold that to a friend of ours, and she loves it. And it's got a couple little dings on it, but nothing worthy of totaling it, as I said before. Go back and listen to that episode if you want. But let's see. In the meantime, we picked up a Ford pickup truck, which was kind of a partial trade for the Subaru, and I'm working on getting that fixed up to sell. So if you know anybody that needs a four-wheel drive Ford Ranger in reasonably decent shape, and it will be in pretty good shape when I'm done with it. Got to put an exhaust system on it and a little bit of other maintenance, but once I do that, I'm going to be selling it. We picked up a Toyota Highlander. That's what Kathy's driving now, so we replaced the Subaru with a Highlander, so another all-wheel drive, and I promise not to run it into the ditch this time. Of course, this time of year we don't have to worry about that. It's just trees falling on things. And let's see, yesterday picked up a new, to us, motorhome. We were debating on whether we wanted to replace the tow vehicle we had for our camp trailer, an old Cadillac Escalade that we've had for years and years and years, and it needs a lot to make it roadworthy to haul the camper, and it just happened to run across this Class C motorhome, and it's in really good shape. It's only got 50,000 miles on it, and the camper part's in really, really good shape. And of course, the truck part's pretty good too. Not much mileage on it, and of course, with RVs, you don't generally drive them in the winter too much, so that's good. So the thing is not rusty, and it's a 93. Kind of looking forward to taking our first camp trip, probably tomorrow afternoon if the weather's decent. We're going to go out to where our trailer is parked and swap some stuff over from the camp trailer to the motorhome and clean out the motorhome, the trailer, get that ready to sell. And we're going to I got to do a little bit of work on the Cadillac and get that ready to sell. So we're going to have like a used car lot going on here, but it'll be nice because now we'll just have one vehicle to take care of instead of two for camping. And being that it's a E350 van, basically, at least the chassis, big 1 ton, well, it's probably more than that. It's got dual rear wheels on it. It's a pretty heavy duty things, 28 feet long, but all the parts are pretty readily available. It's got a Ford 460 big block in it, so should get about 10 to 12 miles to the gallon if I keep my foot out of it. We don't go that far, We go up to Sugar Island. We go, locally, and that's about all we really do camp-wise. We'll probably take it down to some U of M games this year down in Ann Arbor this fall, when football season starts, and that'd be a nice tailgating vehicle, I suppose. And that's a couple 100 miles. So, like I said, we don't travel cross country in the thing or anything, so the gas mileage is not really a big deal. In fact, with the Cadillac, we get about 8 miles to the gallon pulling the trailer. So actually, I probably have a bit of a gas mileage improvement. But like I said, for as little as we actually drive the thing, ain't gonna matter. Let's see what else has been going on. That's really about it. Like I said, got appointed the district EC and got to go to a Homeland Security planning board meeting over in Grayling the other day, and that was pretty cool. Got to meet a bunch of county emergency managers. I'm basically in charge of ham radio for 17 counties in the northern half of lower Michigan. So, but not really in charge of a whole lot. It's more of an administrative thing, reporting, what all the different groups are doing in the different counties and maybe making some suggestions and that kind of thing. But it's not a high-powered job. It's just a thing that I do to volunteer. I've been kind of missing from ham radio of late. Last couple of years, 3 years probably, I've been very inactive other than the normal Sunday morning get-togethers I have with some bunch of friends of mine. And to that end, I actually picked up a new, to me, ham radio, HF rig. For those of you keeping score, it's a Kenwood TS570S, which replaces my TS450 SAT, which is going to be probably relocated to the new motorhome with some mobile antennas. So I'll be able to operate HF from the motorhome. At least that's the tentative plan. Got to figure a place to put it, but that should work out well. And let's see. I went to Hamvention this year down in the Dayton area. Of course, Hara Arena, where Dayton Hamvention has been for the last, 30 years probably, was closed. And so they relocated Hamvention to the Greene County Fairgrounds in Xenia, Ohio, which is a little bit east and a little south of Dayton. So instead of being a little north and west of Dayton, it's a little south and east of Dayton. So kind of shifted everything to the other side of town, but it went pretty well. Of course, the joke is it's called the Xenia Mud Fest, being that it's a fairgrounds and they put the flea market on grass, and I guess it turned into a mud pit. Dad and I only went for one day at Hamvention, and then the next day we went to the Air Force Museum. National Museum of the United States Air Force is the official name of the place, and made me feel really old, because there was 4 or 5, I think it was 4, but maybe 5 aircraft in that museum on display that I actually worked on when I was in the Air Force. 3 F-111s, an F model, an A model, and an EF model. And then when I was in test, we had a V-22 Osprey, which is one of those tilt rotor things, and that was in there. So that was pretty cool. But they opened a 4th building there at the Air Force Museum, and in the 4th building they have the XB-70 Valkyrie and a whole bunch of presidential airplanes and a whole bunch of experimental airplanes. And one of the experimental airplanes in there I worked on as well. So can't really talk about it. I'd have to shoot you. No, I'm kidding. But so that was interesting, and got to walk through President Kennedy's Air Force One. Well, of course, it served more than just Kennedy, but it was the one he took to Dallas that one day. So that's SAM 26,000, the 707. But got to walk through that. Got to walk through Columbine 3, which was at Eisenhower's constellation, and got to walk through Sacred Cow, which was Truman's airplane. So pretty cool. And got to see all the fighters, and they have a lot of MiG fighters in there, which is odd. But the Air Force over the years got a lot of defected MiG aircraft, so I guess that makes sense. Good place to put them. So that was rather interesting seeing those. I'd been there before, but been a long time, so I didn't really remember everything about it. So anyway, got to go through there. That took most of a day, and then by the time we were done with that, we decided we weren't going to go over to Hamvention. We went back to the hotel room and rested up, and then we had a gathering with a bunch of friends at a restaurant over in Brookville, Ohio. So that was a lot of fun and well worth the trip. I got to see some pretty massive thunderstorms down there in Piqua, Ohio, is where we were staying, which is north of Dayton. But there was some pretty crazy thunderstorms there. Of course, that contributed to the Mud Fest. But didn't see a whole lot of people at Hamvention, but we did get through all the buildings and did walk through the flea market. So got to see, a fair amount of that, and it all kind of seemed the same but different. Had kind of a county fair feel to it. They were shuttling people from the parking lot to the main area of Hamvention with a bunch of old antique tractors with hay wagons. So that was cool. Got to ride behind an old John Deere 2-lung tractor, old 2-cylinder John Deere, and had that, like I said, had that county fair feel. Had all the food trailers there like you'd find at a county fair, instead of the what they used to do at Hara with the food vendors there. So that was, like I said, it was a good time. Definitely worth the trip. Let's see, work-wise, staying busy with working with Raw Voice, Blueberry, and we just finally got our PowerPress Sites Deluxe out, which is WordPress hosting specifically for podcasters, where you can map your domain to it, and it's totally managed WordPress, so you don't have to worry about managing the updates and the security and all that. So that's been selling pretty good and keeping me on my toes. So that's a good setup. I haven't moved this site over there yet, MikeDell.com. I have moved PodcastHelpDesk.com, and I moved a couple other sites over to that, and it's working good, working really good. So I think at some point I'll move this one over there, but you won't notice any difference really, because it's just WordPress. And the theme that I'm using here is the same theme that is available on PowerPress Sites Deluxe. So just be a matter of importing all the posts and stuff over and all that, but probably won't do that right away. I've got kind of an older legacy GoDaddy account that has multiple domains on it, so until I find other accommodations for the other domains, I can't really move this one. So yeah, this isn't really my tech show, so maybe I should back off on the tech, huh? I would play another David Ippolito song, but my Macintosh hard drive gave out a few months ago, and I never really reloaded everything. I mean, I had it all backed up, and that's how I got this one, but I didn't dig out any more of that, so that'll probably do it. Of course, you can find me on a more regular basis over at powerpresspodcast.com. I'm doing a podcast for the company with Todd Cochran, our CEO, every 2 weeks over at powerpresspodcast.com. It's the second show over there. PowerPress Podcast is Mackenzie Bennett from our Columbus office does that one every other week, and Todd and I do the Your Podcast. I know it's kind of a clunky name, but it's all about owning your own content and branding, and it's a company podcast, so it's a lot of blueberry related stuff. But I'm on that every other week. Like I said, over at powerpresspodcast.com. Of course, I have Podcast Help Desk, which I've combined 2 podcasts in one over there. So Podcast Quick Hits and Podcast Help Desk now are really one feed. So you get some short episodes and every once in a while a long episode with multiple topics, but the short ones are 5-10 minutes. And they're just single topic about podcasting. As long as I've done this show, it's always been a lot of that podcasting navel gazing, as I call it, getting involved, and I probably will continue to do that. Of course, I always like to mix in some Traverse City and Northern Michigan stuff, but really don't have a lot of that this time for this episode, but we'll definitely be doing some more Traverse City related stuff. Coming up here in about a month is the National Cherry Festival, and this year we got the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds on Air Show weekend, which is the first weekend of it. Should be right around the 4th of July, like just before or just after it, I don't remember, but whatever that weekend is, they do a show on Friday or Saturday and Sunday with practice on Friday. I actually like watching the practice better than the actual shows, but I'll probably go to at least 1 or 2 of them. They do it over West Grand Traverse Bay, so it's one of the few times the Air Force flies over water for an air show. Of course, the Navy Blue Angels are here every other year. They switch off. The Thunderbirds one year, the Blue Angels the next, and the Blue Angels, of course, are used to flying over water for their air shows. But the Thunderbirds don't do that as much. I think they do a couple of shows a year over water. I think they do one in Chicago over Lake Michigan, and of course, this is over Lake Michigan technically. West Grand Traverse Bay is part of Lake Michigan. So, should be interesting. Hopefully the weather's good for it. Last time they were here, they had low clouds, and of course they're flying white airplanes, so it wasn't really all that spectacular to look. But it'd be nice to have some nice blue skies and no clouds, so you can see those shiny F-16s. I prefer the Thunderbirds over the Blue Angels only because I was Air Force, but they're both really good. And last year, they flew on the Blue Angels flew on the 4th of July, and it was the first show back after they lost their number 6 pilot. And so, it was kind of special. They did a 5-ship show instead of 6 because they hadn't trained up a 6th one yet after losing that one pilot, which was what was odd about that. The day that guy crashed, and of course, he died. He was a Marine captain. And but on that same day, the U.S. Air Force lost number 6 of the Thunderbirds. So number 6 Blue Angel and number 6 Thunderbird crashed on the same day. Of course, the Air Force guy ejected successfully, and the airplane landed in a field unattended, and didn't really do much damage other than it, the airplane's probably trashed, but didn't hurt anybody or kill any buildings or livestock or anything, so that's good. So it was just weird that both those happened on the same day, and it was both the number 6 airplanes. So hopefully we don't have any more of that this year. Don't need to lose any expensive fighters or pilots. especially the pilots. So anyway, with that, I'm going to get out of here. The thunderstorm is approaching, and I better batten down the hatches here and send this out. So I'm not going to play any more music. I'm just going to say have a great however long it is until I do this again. Catch me later.